Sometimes life becomes complicated in ways we never expect. My name is Penina, and for many years I lived a quiet, simple life. My husband worked far away, in the northern province of our country. His job was important, and he was gone for months at a time. I tried to be patient, to be understanding, to be the strong wife he believed I was. But loneliness is a heavy thing, and sometimes it grows stronger than any promise. My husband had a best friend named Basa, a man with an easy smile and eyes that always seemed to understand what you were thinking. He had been part of my husband's life since childhood. They grew up together, studied together, and built their dreams side by side. One day, an invitation arrived. Botasa's birthday party. My husband, who was away working, told me I should go. Penina, he is like a brother to me, he said over the phone. Show him respect. Go for me. And so, I went. The birthday night, the party was bright, full of music and laughter. Lights hung from trees, people danced, and everyone seemed to know one another. I felt out of place at first, standing near a table with a glass of juice, watching people celebrate. Then I heard a familiar voice. Penina, Botasa said, smiling gently. You came after all. We talked politely at first about my husband, about work, about the weather. But the more we spoke, the softer Botasa's voice became. He looked at me in a way I had never seen before. You seem lonely, he said quietly. I tried to laugh. My husband is just working far away. I'm fine. But he didn't believe me. I could see it in his eyes. And maybe a part of me felt relieved that someone finally noticed. After that night, Botasa started calling me. At first, it was harmless. Did you get home safely? Penina, I hope your day is good. Are you eating well? Then the messages became warmer. I think about you. You looked beautiful that night. I wish I had met you before your husband did. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't stop him. I didn't block his number. I didn't tell my husband. I told myself it was nothing, just conversation, just someone feeling the silence in my lonely days. But feelings grow when you water them, and we were watering them every day. One afternoon, Botasa asked if he could see me, just for coffee, he said. Nothing more. I agreed. We met in a quiet place, away from the center of town. A small cafe where nobody knew us. We talked for hours, and for the first time in a long while, I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt important. When I stood up to leave, he touched my hand. It was a small, light touch, but it felt like fire. Penina, he whispered, this is not friendship anymore. I didn't answer because he was right. Days passed, and we grew closer in ways I knew were dangerous. One evening, Botasa told me he wanted to take a walk with me. There's a place near the old river, he said, where no one goes. We walked slowly, talking about everything: our fears, our secrets, our dreams we never said aloud. The sun was setting, painting the sky with gold and purple. The air was soft, warm, heavy. And then he stopped walking. He took my hand again, and this time I didn't pull away. Penina, I have fallen for you, he said. My heart beat so fast I thought he could hear it. And then, in that quiet, hidden place, with no one around and no sound except the river moving gently over the stones, we crossed a line that could never be erased. After that night, everything changed. Botasa and I met secretly in quiet rooms, in hidden corners, in places where no one would ever think to look. Every moment with him felt dangerous and exciting. Every time I went home, I felt guilt pressing on my chest like a stone. My husband kept calling me from far away, talking about his job, telling me he missed me. I answered him with a calm voice, but inside I was drowning. Basa, and I could not stop. We told ourselves it was destiny. We told ourselves it was love. We told ourselves the lies that lovers whisper in the dark. But I knew one truth: nothing stays hidden forever. I started waking up at night, heart racing, afraid that someone would find out. I worried someone had seen us. I worried my husband would return early. I feared the look in his eyes if he ever learned the truth, but even with all that fear I still went to meet Basa whenever he called. Love is complicated, loneliness is dangerous, and temptation is a door that, once opened, refuses to close. When my husband finally took his vacation and returned home, everything became more difficult. Before that, Basa and I met easily. But now I had to be careful. One wrong step, one wrong message, one wrong look and everything would fall apart. Basa told me something I never forgot: Penina, I cannot spend even one day without seeing you. His voice was soft but full of need. He meant it. Every single day, he tried to find a way to be near me. I knew it was dangerous, but I also knew I wanted to see him too, so I started creating secrets. The first trick was simple. I told my husband I needed to go to the market. Food is finishing. I must buy vegetables. I will be quick, I said, but I did not go to the busy market where everyone knew me. I went to a smaller one far away, the one where Basa would be waiting for me behind the shops. He always arrived early. He stood there pretending he was looking at fruits, but he watched the road until I came. We walked together through the back paths where no one went. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes he held my hand for a moment before I pulled it away nervously. He always smiled. You see, he whispered, even 10 minutes with you is enough. When my husband spent the whole day at home, reading newspapers or making phone calls, I felt trapped. So I created a second trick. I need a walk, I told him. I feel heavy inside. I need fresh air. Just a short walk. Because he trusted me, he never questioned it, but my walk always led to the same quiet place near the old mango trees where Basa waited. He never complained about standing there for long. He said waiting for me was better than anything else he could do. He always brought something small for me. A flower. A packet of biscuits. Sometimes just a smile and open arms. When I saw him, my heartbeat changed. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was dangerous. But I also knew I could not stay away. My third trick was visiting friends who lived near the edge of town. My husband believed I spent hours talking with them about family matters. But I was not at their houses. I walked toward that area, waited until I was sure no one was watching, and then Basa appeared from a side road. He knew all the hidden paths, all the quiet corners, all the places where we could meet without any risk. Sometimes we sat in his car, windows low, hearts racing. Sometimes we walked among tall grass where no one went. Sometimes we sat on a small hill and watched clouds move across the sky. Basa never let a single day pass without seeing me. If I did not come at my usual time, he sent me a message saying he was waiting somewhere close, even if it meant waiting under the hot sun for hours. He once told me, Penina, I feel alive only when I see you. To keep everything hidden, I bought a small cheap phone with no name and no pictures. My husband never saw it. I kept it deep in a bag inside another bag, hidden under clothes. Basa had the number. No one else. Every night when my husband was asleep, the phone buzzed softly. I never answered with voice because I was afraid he might hear. Instead, I typed messages slowly in the dark. Are you safe? Did you eat? I miss you. And Basa replied quickly, even if it was midnight. Penina, I want to see you tomorrow. I cannot sleep without hearing from you. You are always in my mind. Those messages were dangerous to keep, so I deleted them every morning. But even after deleting them, the words stayed in my heart like fire that would not go out. Another trick I used was house chores. My love, I need to wash the bed sheets. I must go pay the water bill. I forgot to pick up something from the teller. Small things. Everyday things. Things a wife normally does. He never suspected anything. Whenever I said I needed to run an errand, Basa was already watching from somewhere nearby. Sometimes he waited inside his car with the engine off. Sometimes he leaned against the wall pretending to read his phone. But he was always there when he saw me. His whole face lit up. "You came," he whispered, as if he thought one day I might not. I always came, and I always left as quickly as possible, afraid that someone had seen us. Sometimes our meetings lasted only a few minutes. We stood close, spoke in low voices, hands brushing by accident or maybe on purpose. "Penina, even seeing you walk toward me is enough," he said. "I just need to know you still choose me." And every day, without speaking it, I chose him. Again, I should have felt guilty. I should have stayed away, but the truth is simple. Loneliness makes the heart hungry, and Basa was the only person who fed that hunger. I became skilled at hiding emotions. When I came home after seeing Basa, I washed my face quickly. I changed clothes. I put on a calm smile. My husband often said, "You seem tired today." I would answer softly, "Just housework." He never imagined there was a whole world behind my calm voice. I hid everything: the secret phone, the messages, the meeting places, the stolen moments, the soft touches, the whispered confessions. Sometimes at night I sat in the bathroom with the door locked and cried silently. Not because I regretted seeing Basa, but because I knew the truth would one day break everything. But even with that fear, I could not stop. Basa wanted me. I wanted him, and every day we found ways to meet, no matter how dangerous it became. Days passed peacefully on the outside, but inside me everything was shaking. Basa and I continued meeting every day. Even if it was only for a few minutes, we never missed a single day. But slowly, without meaning to, I began to notice a change in my husband. He started watching me more closely. He asked more questions. He woke up at night and looked at me as if searching for something in my face. One evening he said, "Penina, you are different. You move differently. You talk differently. Did something happen while I was away?" I shook my head quickly, forcing a smile. "No, I am just tired," but deep inside I felt fear. It sat in my stomach like a heavy stone. Basa told me not to worry. He only sees the change in your heart. But he does not know why. He has no proof. Just become with him. Everything will be fine. Maybe he was right. Or maybe he wanted to believe it just as much as I did. One morning something happened that nearly destroyed everything. I left the secret phone under the blanket by mistake. My husband woke up before me. He reached over the bed for the blanket and his hand almost touched the phone. My heart jumped so hard that I sat up immediately. He looked at me. "Did something frighten you?" I forced a laugh. "A dream. I had a bad dream." I reached for the blanket quickly, pretending I was fixing it. My fingers closed around the phone and I slid it under the pillow without him noticing. For the rest of that morning my hands shook. My breath felt shallow. My heart did not calm for hours. I sent a message to Basa. We were almost caught. He replied instantly, "Penina, be careful. You are everything to me. I cannot lose you." That simple message felt like a warm hand on my chest. That afternoon I told my husband I needed to pay the electricity bill. He nodded without looking up from his paperwork. I left quickly, holding my secret phone in my hand. Basa was waiting in the usual hidden place. When he saw me, he came forward as if he had waited his whole life for that moment. "Penina, I have something to tell you," he said. His voice was different that day. Softer. More serious. I felt my heartbeat slow down. "Tell me. What is it?" "Your husband is becoming curious. People talk. People watch. He may not know anything yet, but he feels something. We must be more careful." Or one day he might find out a deep fear swept through me like cold wind. But I cannot stop seeing you, I whispered, and I cannot stop loving you. He replied. We stood there for a long time in silence, both of us thinking the same thing. The closer we became, the more dangerous everything felt that night at home. My husband asked again, why do you always go out these days? Why so many errands? Why so many visits? I felt my throat tighten, my mind raced. I needed a reason, a simple explanation. I just need space. I said. I have been alone for so many months. I got used to walking outside, moving around. It helps me breathe. Maybe I will get used to staying in the house again. He looked at me for a long moment, then he nodded slowly. I understand. Take your time. But I knew he did not believe everything. Inside him, a small seed of doubt had been planted. The next day, Basa called as usual. Where can we meet today? I told him everything, about my husband's questions, about the fear in my chest, about the secret phone almost being found. But instead of stepping back, Basa only tightened his connection to me. Penina, listen to me. I do not care how difficult it becomes. I will not spend even one day without seeing you. I would rather wait in the heat for hours than stay a single day without your face. No, I whispered, it is too risky now. Then let me be the one to take the risk. I cannot lose you. If I stay away, you will fade from me. I cannot let that happen. His voice broke a part of me that had been trying to be strong. Where will you wait for me today? I asked softly. He told me immediately, and once again, I went. Basa took me to a quiet garden behind an old house that belonged to his family long ago. No one used it anymore. The gate was broken. Vines climbed the walls. The place smelled of earth, flowers, and forgotten memories. This is where we will meet now, he said. No one comes here. No one will see us. He brushed the leaves off a stone bench for me to sit. I sat down slowly. The sunlight fell in soft patterns over us, making everything feel unreal. For a moment the world became silent, only his breathing and mine existed. Penina, he said softly, even if your husband never finds out, your heart already knows the truth. You belong to me. I felt heat rise through my body, not anger, not fear, something deeper, something that pulled me toward him like gravity. We sat together in the hidden garden until the sun began to set. I in the quiet air, with birds singing softly. Basa held my hand and whispered secrets into my ear. I knew I should have pulled away. I knew I should have ended everything, but instead, I leaned closer. Days passed like these secret walks, hidden messages, soft touches, dangerous promises, stolen minutes. In the secret garden, every day we took a step deeper into a place where we could not go back. My husband still watched me carefully. The doubt in his eyes grew a little more each day, but Basa did not slow down. He wanted me more fiercely with every passing night, and I could not stay away even when fear whispered in my ear, even when guilt sat heavy inside me, even when I told myself to stop. Love, desire, loneliness, danger, secrecy, all of them pulled me in different directions, and I became lost between them. The days went on, and my husband's vacation continued. At first he watched me with light curiosity, but soon his eyes changed. The softness in his gaze disappeared and something sharper replaced it. He began waking up earlier than usual. He began noticing tiny movements I made. He began listening closely when I spoke. He began appearing suddenly in the doorway while I was on my way out. One morning he asked quietly, Penina, why do you smile at your phone so much these days? My heart almost stopped. I pretended to laugh. Oh, I saw a funny message earlier, but he did not smile back. His face stayed stiff and unreadable. The next day he asked again, who have you been visiting so often? Why do you return home with this new glow on your face? I shook my head. I am just trying to stay active. But he stared at me for a long time. A very long time. Finally he said, Penina, I feel something is happening. Something you are not telling me. I swallowed hard, the air felt tight around me inside my chest, fear began to rise again. My secrets were growing too large and my husband was starting to see shadows of them. I knew that soon he would see the whole truth if I was not careful. A few days later I told my husband I needed to visit a friend. He nodded slowly, his eyes watching my every move. When I stepped outside, I looked around carefully. I made sure no one was watching from the windows. Then I walked toward the hidden road where Basa usually waited for me. That day he was standing near a small tree, smiling as soon as he saw me. He ran his fingers through his hair nervously. I thought you would not come today, he said. I had to be slow, I whispered. My husband is watching everything I do. Basa touched my hand gently. You are here. That is all that matters. We walked deeper into the secret garden. The air was warm and heavy. We found the stone bench that had become our quiet place. Basa sat close to me, so close that I could feel the heat of his body. We talked about everything. About fear. About love. About the danger of our meetings. He held my hand and told me he could not imagine a life without me. But then something happened. While we were talking, we heard a sound behind the wall. A small crack, like a twig breaking under someone's foot. Basa froze. I felt my breath stop. He whispered, Penina, someone might be watching. My heart pounded so loudly I thought the whole garden could hear it. We stayed still for a long moment, listening. Another sound came. A soft rustle of leaves. It could have been an animal. It could have been a stray dog, but it could also have been a person. Basa stood and pulled me close. Stay behind me. My legs trembled. My whole body trembled. After a few seconds of silence, he whispered, we must leave. Slowly. Carefully. Do not look back. We left the garden through the other gate and walked until we reached the road. Only then did I breathe again. Basa looked serious, almost angry. We were almost caught today. Someone was close. Too close. That moment changed everything. After the dangerous meeting, Basa became different. His sweetness remained, but a new fire burned under it. A fire of fear, a fire of jealousy, a fire of possessiveness. He sent more messages than before. He demanded to know where I was at every hour. He asked what my husband said to me each day. He wanted to know if my husband touched me or looked at me in certain ways. One night he wrote, Penina, I cannot share you. Not even with your husband. I stared at the message for a long time, feeling the weight of his words. Another day he grabbed my hand in the garden and said, tell me you choose me. Tell me you are mine. His voice trembled with emotion. I felt something inside me shake, a mixture of fear and longing. Basa, I whispered, this is becoming too dangerous. But he shook his head. I will not lose you. If you stop meeting me, I will come to your house. I will tell you in front of everyone that I love you. I mean it. I stared at him with shock. You cannot do that. My husband would destroy everything. His eyes softened for a moment. I am sorry. I am only scared. Scared of losing you. Basa's love had grown into something powerful and unstoppable, and I felt trapped between two worlds. The emotional storm inside me grew stronger each day. My husband watched me with deep suspicion. Basa watched me with deep hunger, and I stood between them, carrying the weight of both. One evening my husband said, Penina, sit down. We need to talk. His voice was calm, but too calm. I sat slowly. He looked at me with eyes I had never seen before, eyes filled with quiet anger and quiet pain. He said, I want to ask you one question. And I want the truth. Are you seeing someone? The word stopped. Everything inside me stopped. My breath. My heartbeat. My thoughts. I forced my lips to move. No. I am not. But the light tasted bitter. My husband looked at me for a very long time, as if trying to read the truth inside my soul. He finally said, I will find out. Even if you do not tell me. That night I could not sleep. I sat in the bathroom with my head in my hands. Tears fell silently onto the floor. In the morning I met Basa. My voice shook as I spoke. We cannot continue like this. My husband knows something. He is searching for the truth. Basa took my face in his hands. Penina, look at me. I love you. I will fight for you. I will keep you. No one can take you away from me, but everything is falling apart. I whispered, then let it fall, he said, as long as I still have you. His voice was full of passion and desperation. In that moment I realized something powerful. Basa loved me too fiercely. My husband doubted me too deeply, and I was losing control of everything. This was the dramatic turning point. This was the moment when I understood that soon, something big would happen. Something that could break one of these men. Or break me. The storm was no longer inside me. It was around me, above me, and growing stronger each day. By the time November 2024 arrived, my life was already hanging by a thin thread. My husband was watching me closely. Basa was becoming more intense, more possessive, and I lived every day with fear sitting like a stone inside my chest. But even with all this, I never imagined what was about to happen, never, not even in my darkest dreams. One afternoon in early November, Basa asked me to meet him at the secret garden. The air felt heavy with rain, dark clouds gathered above us. He took my hand and said, Penina, you mean everything to me. I do not care about anything else. We held each other closely. We whispered the things we were too afraid to say in the sunlight. It was a moment full of emotion, closeness, and forbidden love. What we did not know was that someone had placed a small hidden camera behind the old wall. Someone had recorded us, someone who wanted to destroy everything. Maybe it was a neighbor, maybe it was a jealous person. Maybe it was someone following me. This day I do not know. All I know is that the camera saw us. Together it captured our faces. It captured our closeness. It captured our secrets. On November 14, 2024, I woke up early as usual. My husband was already in the living room drinking tea. His face looked strange, cold, empty, hard. I greeted him softly. He did not answer. He just pointed to his phone on the table. Penina, he said in a voice that did not sound like his own, what is this? I walked slowly toward him. My hands shook, my legs felt weak. On his phone screen was a video. A video of me and Basa standing close together in the secret garden. The camera angle was far away, but our faces were clear, our voices were soft but understandable, our bodies were too close, too familiar, too intimate. The title above the video made my heart stop. Woman in hidden relationship with her husband's friend. My blood turned cold. I whispered, no, this cannot be real. But it was real. It was everywhere, shared on social media, posted on websites, talked about in groups. My entire private world had been thrown into the open. My husband's eyes never left me. There was no softness in them anymore. No love, no mercy. I watched the whole thing. He said quietly, your voice, your smile, your hands on him. You chose him over me. Tears fell from my eyes before I could stop them. I did not know anyone was recording. I am so sorry. He stood up slowly. Sorry does not erase what I saw. He said, I trusted you. I believed in you. And all this time, you were giving yourself to someone else. I covered my face with my hands. My whole body shook. My breath came out in painful gasps. He did not touch me. He did not comfort me. He did not shout. He simply looked at me like I was a stranger. Then he said the words that broke my entire world, pack your things. Today we divorce. I tried to speak, I tried to explain, but every time I opened my mouth, I felt my voice fall apart. My husband did not listen. He did not want to listen. He walked into the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out a suitcase. He placed it on the bed without looking at me. You have until evening, he said after that, I do not want to see you here again. The house was completely silent. Except for the sound of my quiet crying. I packed slowly. Every shirt reminded me of a past that now felt like a lie. Every dress reminded me of promises I had broken. Every folded cloth felt heavy with guilt. When I finished, I closed the suitcase with trembling hands. My husband walked into the room, looked at the suitcase, then looked at me. This marriage is finished, he said. You finished it. When I left the house, I called Basa. Immediately he answered on the first ring. Penina, I saw the video. Someone is trying to destroy us. Everything is destroyed, I whispered. My husband saw it. He asked for a divorce. Basa breathed heavily, almost angrily. Come to me, he said. I will protect you. But his voice did not give me comfort. It sounded different, too angry, too desperate, too dangerous. I stood on the street with tears rolling down my face. My life is broken, I said. I do not know what to do. Basa said, then come to me. I will fix everything. But I did not move. I could not move. I felt like the earth under me had disappeared. That evening my husband and I went to the courthouse. He did not hold my hand. He did not look at me. He walked beside me like I was a stranger on the street. The papers were signed quickly, coldly, without emotion. When it was over, he said one final sentence: I hope you find whatever you were searching for. But it will never be with me. I stood alone, holding the divorce papers in my shaking hands. The air felt cold against my skin. The world felt too big and too empty. When I walked outside the courthouse, the sky was dark. A few drops of rain fell on my face. I did not know if it was rain or tears. My marriage was gone. My reputation was broken. My secret with Basa was no longer a secret. Everyone had seen the video, everyone knew, and all I could feel was the heavy truth inside my heart. One mistake, one hidden camera point, one video, and my entire life had fallen apart. After the divorce, I left the courthouse feeling like a shadow of myself. My name was the same. My face was the same, but inside, everything was different. Everything was broken. I carried one suitcase, nothing more. No home, no husband, no place to go. The world felt too big and too quiet around me. I walked slowly, not knowing where to turn. Cars passed by, people walked by without looking at me. It was the first time in years that I felt truly invisible. I needed a new beginning, and I needed it fast. A small room, a new start. That night, I went to a small guest house far from my old neighborhood. The woman at the desk looked at me kindly when she saw my tired eyes. Are you traveling, dear? She asked. I forced a small smile. Yes. Something like that. She gave me a small room on the third floor. The room was not beautiful. It had one small bed, one table, a tiny window, but to me, it felt like a shelter from the storm. I put my suitcase down and sat on the bed. The silence in the room was heavy, but also peaceful. It was the first moment in a long time when no one was asking me questions. No one was watching me. No one was judging me. For the first time in many months, I allowed myself to breathe, disconnecting from the past. The next morning, I turned on my phone and saw dozens of messages, some from strangers, some from old friends, some from people who wanted gossip, some from people who wanted to insult me. I stared at the screen for a long time, then I turned off the phone. I removed the card. I placed it in a drawer and closed it. I decided that morning, I would not let the past control my future. I would not let the video, the divorce, or the mistakes follow me every second. I needed to disappear, not forever, just long enough to heal. Basa tries to return. A few days later, I received a message in the guest house lobby. The woman at the desk handed me a small paper. Someone left this for you, she said. The message was from Basa. Penina, tell me where you are. I need you. I cannot live without you. My hands shook as I read it. I thought about everything, about how he loved me, about how he protected me, but also about how intense he had become, how dangerous his jealousy felt, how the video had destroyed my whole life. I looked at the message again, then I folded it quietly and placed it in the trash. I knew the truth. I needed to be alone to rebuild myself, not with him. Not with anyone. A new life cannot grow when the past still has a strong grip on your heart. I knew I needed money if I wanted to survive, so I began searching for jobs. I went to small shops, restaurants, and markets. Some people recognized my face from the video scandal. Their eyes widened when they saw me. They whispered to each other. They avoided me politely, but one woman in a small bakery looked at me with kindness. "You seem like someone who needs a fresh start," she said. I nodded silently. She gave me a job cleaning tables and organizing bread. It was not glamorous. It was not easy, but it was honest work, and it was mine. Every morning I woke up early, walked to the bakery, and walked quietly. No one asked about my past. No one judged me. They only saw a woman trying to build a new life. Slowly, the bakery became my place of peace. Living alone was strange at first. There was no one to cook for. No one to talk to in the evening. No one to ask me where I was going. No one to check my messages. No one to tell me they loved me or that they hated me. It was just me. 80 nights, I listened to the small sounds of the guest house, footsteps in the hallway, the wind outside the window, the soft hum of my own breathing. 81st, it felt lonely, but later, it felt peaceful. For the first time in years, I heard my own thoughts clearly. For the first time in years, I had space to grow again. For the first time in years, I felt free. I learned how to enjoy silence, how to enjoy a cup of tea alone, how to enjoy sunsets through my tiny window, how to walk without fear of being watched, how to sleep without hiding a secret. Slowly, very slowly, I became stronger in my new life. I had no secrets. No hidden messages. No dangerous meetings. No lies. No whispered plans. No fear of being caught. No guilt walking behind me. I lived simply. I walked. I slept. I ate. I healed. Sometimes I cried quietly, remembering everything I had lost. Sometimes I smiled softly, remembering everything I had learned. Life was not perfect, but it was mine. One evening, after finishing work, I walked to the river near the guest house. The water moved slowly, reflecting the golden light of sunset. I stood there for a long time, thinking about my past. My husband, Basa, the video, the divorce, the pain, the mistakes, the love, the betrayal, the destruction. Then I closed my eyes and allowed the wind to touch my face. I whispered softly to myself, "I forgive myself. I forgive my past. And I am ready to live again." The weight inside my chest finally began to lift. I opened my eyes and felt something new inside me, something light, something hopeful. It was the beginning of my new life. A life alone. A life peaceful. A life free. A life rebuilt with my own hands. A life where I finally learned how to love myself.